Welcome to Bar Cart Bookshelf, a video series about books and the drinks they inspire. My name is Elias, and today we're talking about Empire of Exiles by Erin M. Evans. Empire of Exiles is the first book in the Books of the Usurper series. It's an epic fantasy, and it is a lot of fun. It's a book that I was looking forward to reading in the fall, and I'm excited to get around to here in January. It's a book that drew me in because it has not one but two maps, and I can't resist a map, much less two. And so I had just a really grand time with this one. All the more so because, as you know, we love a mystery here on Bar Cart Bookshelf. And guess what? This is an epic fantasy mystery. So, really one of those things that's sort of keyed into just exactly what I have a lot of fun with here at Bar Cart Bookshelf. It's the story of the Semilin Empire that is a sort of conglomeration of all the peoples of this vast continent who 100 or so years prior fled to the barest edge of the continent, to Semilla, because there was this horde of shape-shifting changelings, these beings that can take on the appearance of your loved ones or whoever, and were wreaking havoc across the continent. And so everybody, all the people of the world, travel to this peninsula there at the edge of the continent, and a sorcerer throws up this great wall of salt that bars the changelings from crossing over, this sort of mountain range of salt. And now we have basically 100 years of relative peace until about 23 years before the start of the novel, where our usurper seeks to start a coup and destabilize things, is defeated, and then maybe has more of a lingering impact than was initially anticipated 23 years prior. It's just really wonderfully multicultural in the world building, and really thoughtful about what could you do if you were upending entire cultures and bringing them all together. A lot of our characters, all of our characters really, tie into the Imperial archives, so they're archaeologists and material specialists. All of the magic ties into manipulation of materials: bone, ink, salt, wood, bronze, rubies, corundums, that sort of thing. And so it's really tied into the tactility of material culture and the sort of versatility of text as an artifact and as a physical item. There are lawyer priests and sort of scribes that swear holy oaths. It's kind of like Indiana Jones meets Ace Attorney in places. So just a lot of fun, and a really wide cast of characters that sort of approach this mystery, this murder, from a variety of angles before they come together, and we get to see the world in a lot of different ways through those different lenses. And so, with that in mind, because I had such a grand time with this one, we had to have a cocktail. I know that for a lot of folks, it is a dry January. This one's going to be a little lower ABV, so for us, it's a damp January. And we're going to start our cocktail now. Our drink today is called the Salt Wall, because, as I mentioned, that plays sort of a major role in both the protection of the Semilin Empire and also the premise of the series and the novel as a whole. And we're going to start by building our own salt wall. I've got my glass here, and I'm damping it with a paper towel to prepare it for, get that out of the way, my dish of salt. And so then I'll get my glass, my damp glass, in with the salt and run that around. We just want to get a good amount of salt on the wall. And I am using a kosher salt. For this, you want something that's sort of large and flaky, not just your table salt, because that's going to be a little bit too small to really adhere to the edge of the glass. There we go. That looks like a nice salt wall for our salt wall. So we'll set the salt aside and the glass as well and get on to building the remainder of our cocktail. Now, as I said, it's sort of a lower ABV cocktail, so we're going to start with our base ingredient, which today is dry vermouth. We're going to get 2 ounces of the dry vermouth in there, this sort of aromatized wine, sort of herbal and refreshing, and then, you know, lower ABV. It's something that's frequently an adjoining element in a cocktail like the classic martini, but here we're going to let that take center stage. So we've got 2 ounces of our dry vermouth. Next, we're going to get half an ounce of green chartreuse, an herbal liqueur. These changelings in the novel have greenish blood, so having that sort of greenish liqueur in there is going to be a nice sort of modifying element and going to bring some really good herbal qualities while also a bit of sweetness and a bit of depth as well, because that sugar brings density. Next, we see from sort of the first chapter that a fig brandy is playing a role. It's described in the book as overly sweet, so I think our fig liqueur that we like to use here is going to be a good substitute for that. And it's not going to add too much sweetness to our cocktail because we're only going to use half an ounce. So we'll get half an ounce of the fig liqueur in there as well. And then finally, just to balance things out, some orange bitters. See a bronze gentian flower that shows up in the book, and gentian is frequently the bittering agent in our bitters, a natural digestive aid. And the orange, I think, just is going to add that nice bit of citrus. It really rounds it out, brightens it a bit while having that bitter depth. So 1, 2, 3. There's about 3 or so dashes in there. As always, it's easy to add more, hard to add less. So if once you've stirred up your salt wall and given it a taste, you want to add a little more bitters, you certainly can add another dash or 2. Now we'll get our ice down into our mixing glass. Wonderful, wonderful. And sometimes the ice decides it wants to stick to the bottom of my bowl here. And we'll give that a stir. You're going to want to stir for about 20 seconds or so. Oh, this is smelling so nice. Just a really wonderful balance of that herbal quality and the fruitiness of the fig while still being a lower ABV kind of cocktail. It's interesting that we get to end up with a lower ABV drink when all of our ingredients are these sort of alcoholic liqueurs or aromatized wines, but that's the benefit of letting the vermouth take the center stage here. Wonderful, wonderful. So, given that a stir, get our strainer, stainless steel. So, feel like mentioning the materials is useful in a world where material culture takes such prominence. There we go. And strain with ease. And so there you have it. This is the Salt Wall, inspired by Empire of Exiles by Erin M. Evans. Empire of Exiles is available now It is a lot of fun. If you like a mystery, if you like an epic fantasy, if you like archaeology and material culture, then this is definitely one to check out. Got a link to snag the book in the description below. To the Boston Shaker as well, we have a link. It's where we get all of our tools and ingredients, the bitters, the strainer in durable stainless steel. And we've got links to various forms of social media, including Twitter and Instagram, where there is always a written version of today's recipe. Please try the drink. Let me know what you think. If you've checked out Empire of Exiles already, hit me up in the comments below. If you haven't, come back in a couple of weeks, come back in a couple of days, and let me know what you think. I really had a lot of fun and would love to talk about what's coming next for this series. So, there you have it. And until next time, cheers.